Oh, shoot. I guess I'm not a juggler. I should stick to dietetics, what I know to do the best. And of course, nutrition expert is my expertise. I am Manuel Villacorta, registered dietitian, nutritionist, author, and a spokesperson. And I am honored to have been invited by Leah McGrath, the founder of Build Up Dietitians, to talk to you. And she gave me a list of questions that I'm going to go over with you. And hopefully with this, I like to inspire dietitians, motivate dietitians, and how, I knocked down some barriers in this last 18 years of experience. But let me tell you where you can find me if you decide to, if we don't get a chance to ask me questions now, or please do ask questions. I have my laptop here that I'm going to be reading the questions as they come. And also, it will be nice to follow each other. So my social media handles are on the screen right now, and you can take note of those. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. I'm everywhere. So also my website, manuelvillacorta.com, where I have a blog and where I put also a lot of my videos, and you can learn more about myself there too as well. manuelvillacorta.com. So again, I've been a registered dietitian nutritionist for about 18 years. And one of the questions is, why do you want to become, why I became a dietitian? Well, let me later tell a little story about myself a little bit again. I am an immigrant from Peru. I moved to the United States about 30 years ago. Actually, now it's 32 now. I'm getting older. So anyhow, and I came to the States without knowing any English. Actually, my first job ever was at Safeway. I was packing bags, but I had dreams, and those dreams were to become a doctor. And I worked really hard and to try to accomplish that. And, I almost did. Why did I say I almost did? Actually, I finished pre-med at Berkeley. I was a physiology metabolism bachelor's. Nutrition was the school of nutrition, and I was studying physiology metabolism. And I always wanted to help people. Well, being Peruvian, I don't know if you have ever Peruvian food, it's so delicious. I was missing my food. I was missing my mother's cooking. And true story, 30 some years ago, we didn't have Facebook, email, and calling was very expensive. So I remember my mother would send me a recipe at a time of my favorite Peruvian dishes. And that's how I got into cooking. And I loved it. In one conversation, with my father, after he came and visited me and had my food, and he says, "Son, you should become a chef." I thought he was kidding. You're going to wear white anyway. So unfortunately, he passed away the year after that. And that sort of was like as a Latino, we have the family structure and society pressures and all that. You got to be a doctor. But, that sort of gave me the permission to open up and really follow my passion. Medicine, I guess, wasn't my passion. Cooking was my passion. And so learning to cook changed my life. I finished pre-med. I even took the MCAT. And that's when I decided, what can I do? I don't want to be a chef. I still want to help people. So that's when I decided to become a nutritionist. Little did I know that I needed to become a registered dietitian. Anyhow, so I finished Berkeley. And then I started learning that, oh, shoot, I needed to become a dietitian. So went back to school, and I finished my master's in nutrition and dietetics with an RD. And took me about 4 years because I decided to do a master's thesis rather than a project. I always like to take the difficult routes. Anyhow, so finally by age 36, I finished my master's and I became a dietitian. And I had about 9 years of schooling. Anyhow, so that was a lot of schooling. And but in the meantime, as I was going to school, I was working full-time for a public health program in San Mateo. And then my first job as actually I wasn't even a dietitian yet. As a nutrition assistant helping dietitians was at WIC, the Women's, Infants, and Children program. Well, not many people know this, but my first job ever was actually helping women breastfeed. Yes, I actually became a lactation educator. So I latched many babies. I actually worked on breastfeeding for 7 years. Can you believe that? A man breastfeeding, helping women to breastfeed. I was called the latcher. So anyway, I latched many babies successfully. And my master's thesis was actually also on breastfeeding. I looked into to study to see if women who had gestational diabetes can prevent diabetes if they were to breastfeed. The study was a huge success. I had to do it at Stanford, even though I was going to San Jose State, because they didn't offer a medical school, a clinic with a doctor to do this kind of study. So that research thesis lasted 4 years, and that opened my eyes tremendously. So after I finished that, honest to God, Berkeley calls me and says, come back to us and finish your PhD. And I'm like, so back at the then, I have my boyfriend, who is my husband now, said to me, when are you going to start making money? So he said, if you are able to do what you did for this master's thesis, you can probably rock if you open your private practice, because that's what I eventually wanted to do. So as soon as I finished my master's thesis with my RD, but remember, I already had years of experience working, helping people, coaching, counseling as a public health nutritionist, I right away then said, I have the experience, I have developed programs, I actually know what I need to do. So then I opened my practice in San Francisco. Now, here's the irony. I hated weight loss. Hated weight loss. But then when I opened my practice, no one was calling me. Or if they were calling me, they were asking me to help them lose weight. You don't know, my blood was boiling. Then doctors were not referring. It was so sad. This is about 15, 16 years ago, by the way. So then I decided, listen, if I want to survive in private practice, I'm going to have to do what the consumer wants. So then I stopped and I developed a weight loss program, but I developed a comprehensive weight loss program. I don't see people one time. If you want to work with me, you have to sign up into a program. So I do programs. I don't do sessions, by the way. That made my private practice a huge success. Within 6 months, I had, I'm not kidding you, a 6-week waiting period to see me. That's when I start actually hiring other RDs. So I have 4 RDs under me and myself working at this successful private practice in San Francisco. It was phenomenal. So for private practice, programs work, packages, sessions always work best. I learned a lot from the beginning. I created contracts, pay in advance, never pay as you go. Things that really helped me succeed in private practice. And I have a program. So I had a protocol of how many sessions you'll go through. The program is 3 to 4 months. Because at least, as you know, dietitians, we need to change behavior, and behavior does not change overnight, and it takes time. So I find that at least 3-4 months of work, you can make some changes for sure. And this is why I don't even bother seeing when people call me and say, can you see me for an hour and guide me on to eat healthy? I don't waste time. I say either you sign up into a program or we don't work together at all. Anyhow, so that's how I got into dietetics. And then let me see the second question. So the jobs that I have done. So obviously public health early on, some research as well, then private practice. But then after helping thousands of clients and having amazing success, please ask questions. I'm going to ask questions. I want to make sure that your questions are coming in here right now. Let me read, because I'm going to answer those towards the end, so I can go over that. I'm not seeing myself here right now. But anyway, this is coming up soon. So as you ask questions, or I can wait till the end. Where I'm at. The life is not here. Oh, there we are. So my career path. So anyways, let's see. Okay, finally I found it. Hold on. So anyway, so I have you here. So I'm gonna see if your questions come in. I can start answering them. But let me continue here. So then, just like we all are, you kind of get a little, not bored, but you want something else, something new. And then, that's when I decided to write my first book. So, by the way, my first book, Eating Free, you probably see all the books there on the screen now that I have written. This first book, Eating Free, is the foundation of my philosophy, and I know nutrition is not a philosophy, it's a science, but of how I approach food. And funny enough, I start talking about mindful eating and intuitive eating before the talks of that were there. And I wasn't even calling it intuitive eating or mindful eating. I was just talking normal eating because growing up in Peru, eating is what we do very respectfully. You sit down, you eat, you finish a plate, or not finish the plate, but as a family, and we take time to eat, we respect the time to eat. So eating free, in a sense, was me teaching my grown-up clients how to eat, from making them, teaching them how to when they feel full, coaching them on that, or food is not the enemy, food is not evil. Pretty much, I was freeing them from food jail. That's what I said, and that's why it's called eating free, not guilt. So that's what eating free is, and this is what I am all about. I am Peruvian, like I said. We like food, we like to eat. And coming here and hearing all this craziness about no potatoes, I was like, really? I'm Peruvian, I'm gonna eat my potatoes. I don't care what you tell me. So it sounds like these diets really don't listen to cultures and cuisines and what we have eaten for generations. At any rate, so this is my first book, Eating Free. And then after that, I start sort of finding that the title Eating Free and this whole nice way of approaching things, it did okay, didn't do like best-selling or anything like that. But then I start getting a little more savvy on marketing. And of course, the competition got really, really hard. Now we're talking 2010, 2011, new apps coming up, blogs, nutritionists, you know what I'm talking about. Pretty much somehow these colleges started spitting out the nutritionists like diarrhea. I swear to God. Because I remember when I would look on Google in 2007 and 8 or even 2006, my practice with some other dietitians, very few were coming up in the search. Now you search nutritionists. Now we have Yelp, almighty Yelp. Oh my God, you get pages and pages of nutritionists. So I feel like, these colleges were having diarrhea and they were spitting out nutritionists like crazy. So I needed to become more savvy with my marketing. And then as I was walking around San Francisco and I was ready to write my first cookbook, I looked into what can I do new? So then I started looking at Peruvian superfoods that already you can find in the supermarkets. So then I decided my second book is Peruvian Power Foods. Now that name alone, Peruvian Power Foods, became a bestseller. This book is almost like an encyclopedia. Each chapter is about the superfood that I'm discussing with recipes, of course, because as a registered dietitian, we want to show people how to apply the food in their daily lives. This is not a weight loss book. This is just like, pretty much an educational book on Peruvian superfoods. Now, I'm emphasizing these words because I'm going to talk about these words soon. Power foods, superfoods, anti-aging. All right, became bestseller. But once they open the book, they start learning about all these delicious foods. Actually, within 3 months of publishing this book, my publishing house calls me and says, Manuel, you need to come up with a diet now, the Peruvian superfoods diet. And this is where I came with whole body reboot, the superfoods diet. Superfoods diet. Now, I'm emphasizing these words. And then 4 weeks of menus, 5 days of smoothie detox. Oh my God. Words that I know probably a lot of you are like, what is he talking about? So let's continue with the history of my books. So this book became a bestseller as well. Then 2 years ago, 2015, almost 3 years ago now, Flat Belly 365 came out. So I left the Peruvian world and I went into discussing more about health, the track section. So pretty much decreasing visceral fat, and also talking about inflammation, how to fight inflammation, and obviously having a healthy gut, which are very, as you know, trendy topics right now. And flat belly, oh my God. All right, this book did amazingly well in the media. I can tell you I got 16 TV interviews around the nation, and 2 national magazines not only mentioned my book, they actually wrote 2 pages on it. And Women's World being one of them, by the way. Flat Belly 365. So I have been criticized by some dietitians. Why you use those words, Manuel? You know they're not science-based. There is no validity to those words. But to be honest with you, just like when I open my practice, I want people to come to me to help them improve their glucose levels. I wanted people to come to me to help them with their heart disease and improve their cholesterol levels. Nobody was coming for that. Nobody cared about that shit. They wanted to lose weight. Okay, and this is why I decided to do weight loss, and I did it in the right way. And yes, and now my books have hooks, keywords hooks, because I'm trying to speak the language of the consumer wants to hear. Unfortunately, nutrition is very loud right now, and we need to become louder. And one way I can educate people, because once you open my book, I can tell you really how detox works, what flat belly really means, and everything else. So this is why that's my answer to you. If I had people, you could have chosen so many titles, Manuel. You could have chosen so many titles, but why you choose flat belly? Because I want to get to people. I want to educate them. If I would have chosen another title, I would not have reached that many people. I know I have reached millions now, and I'm very proud of this. Now, I have a new book coming up. I'm very excited. This book comes out in December. Now, even though these books have tons of recipes, they're not cookbooks, but this is truly my first cookbook, official cookbook. And I'm actually doing, I wrote a cookbook for men. This is the Essential Cookbook for Men. This cookbook is not just a cookbook, it's a guidebook that is going to teach men to learn how to navigate the kitchen. So I'm holding their hand with this book in a sense. They can come in and read the book, and I'm telling them what utensils to get, what bowls, the knives, the cutting boards. I'm telling you, it's cooking 101 from the beginning. The recipes are not complicated, and I do have some complex recipes for those that have already done the simple recipes. So there's a progression in each chapter for that. So anyways, so this is the Essential Cookbook for Men. By the way, is now you can pre-order now on Amazon. It's pretty cool and great gift for your boyfriend, husband, significant other, or whoever you have, any men in your life that would like to learn how to cook. The Essential Cookbook for Men coming up, and it's quite nice. All right, so now let's see. No questions yet. Let me refresh the page. All right, so let me check here. All right, so wait. All right, so now, all right, so remember, ask questions if you have any questions, and we're still on here. All right, so now the next question is, what advice would you give men interested in becoming a registered dietitian? So actually, I had quite a few men have come up to me, and I have one example. I have a colleague, a trainer back then, that asked me, you know, I want to do nutritional work, Manuel, and what route should I take? Because he also was finding that it was very complex, you know, should I become a nutritionist? Should I become a registered dietitian? And I said, my advice to him was, if you want to do nutrition, there's only one way. You need to become a registered dietitian. And he did it. He did it. And why? I mean, as dietitians, you know this, we can do almost anything. I'm not the normal dietitian in a sense. I've never done clinical. I've been in private practice since I graduated. I worked in public health. I've done research. I have experience. But, you know, dietetics is just beyond clinical. And there's, for those that want to do clinical, more power to you. We all not want to do clinical work, and that's fine, because we need us everywhere. Teaching, counseling, coaching, media. So when I talked to him, I said, you need to have that RD, because that gives you the power. And he did it. He actually graduated as a dietitian not long ago, and I'm very proud of him. And also in my office, when I have help clients lose weight the right way with behavioral changes, and of course I give them nutritional plans too, they have come to me after their success and told me, I want to become a registered dietitian. That sort of impact we have on people. And it's great to see that I have changed, not only changed people's lives, but I'm changing their careers. So that was well done there. All right. And then the other question says, now you're doing a cooking show. Yeah, so let me tell you about this. I am in transition in my career. I've always been in every so often I like to do new things. I love private practice, but it's sort of like now it's been 15, 16 years. And you know, as a self-employed person, you need to hustle a lot. So there's pros and cons on everything. And you know, sometimes we're uncertain when is the next client. So, you know, so you need to put your name out there. Speaking of putting my name out there, none of these books I wrote to make money, by the way. And they're all done through publishing houses. These books are done for me to get my name current and also keep my name alive. As a self-employed person, that's what I need to do, because every 2-3 years I need to do something to get my name out there and people talk about it. So, you know, these books have helped me with that. Nowadays also I work as a national spokesperson for several food commodities and food brands, and this is what I do now. This is my office, my kitchen. This is why I'm doing the live here in my kitchen for you. This is my studio. This is my home, by the way, in San Francisco. And we have a whole set here. Let me see, no questions. Oh, yeah. So let me see. There we are. Oh, Fuad answered. Fuad made a comment already. Fuad is the guy that I told him to go to become a registered dietitian. So you can read his answer. All right. So what I do here now as a spokesperson for these companies, commodities, I develop content for them. So, and I do videos for them. So as I was sort of doing that, I was learning that I'm loving this too much, being in front of the camera, loving that I can actually now speak to more people at once, which I want to reach millions, and as my goal, I want to reach the masses. And one way to do that is through social media. Social media is now a fantastic tool to do that, and especially videos. So last year I spoke at Fancy, and the topic was to help dietitians create videos for themselves, because that's where it is right now. So anyways, to make the story short now, I decided then, after I was making all these videos, and at the beginning it was a little hard to multitask, like trying to like cook and talk and send messages. It's complex, but it's not difficult. You can practice. Obviously, practice makes you more of an expert. And then a few months ago, talking to some marketing friends and my significant other, my husband, and a close friend that I have that helps me with my videos, where I was told, you need to have a show. And I was doing Facebook Lives. So then to have a show means you need to be on YouTube. So I just launched my Manuel Caliente's Kitchen Show, and it's going really nice. And I found a new love. I found a new passion. So I now would like to do more of these. I'm trying to get this show out of the ground and just make it very successful. And just like I did with my private practice. So probably by next year I'll be closing my private practice, but I probably continue seeing clients virtually on video. And so this has been my path. Now, I forgot to tell you about my book also, just so you understand a little bit about the hardships that I have gone through. Eating Free, this is my first book. I received 40 rejections, and I did not give up. So this is one thing that I would recommend. Don't give up. 40 rejections was very painful, I'm telling you. I wanted to jump out of windows. It was very depressing. But then I decided to listen and okay, what is it that they're asking me to do? And the one thing they wanted me to do, now this is, remember, 2008. Social media wasn't really that big yet. TV, radio, magazine were big. They were telling me your platform needs to be better. So that means I needed to become more popular, pretty much. So I work on that. So I spent 2 years trying to work to become more popular. And one way that how I did it is by sign up and became a national spokesperson for the Academy. That was an excellent experience. And not only was an excellent experience, gave me what I needed. So after that, I was able to submit my proposal again and got my first book deal. And after that, the rest is history. So once you get in, you're done. Now, also, another hardship that I have gotten is my accent. I've been told by some people, you're not going to make it because you have an accent. Well, let me tell you what, that was a knife to my heart too, because that's who I am. I came already as a grown-up. I couldn't get rid of my accent. As long as you're understanding me, I think we're fine. But then what I decided to do too is to use my accent, my Latino background, to make my niche, my brand. So that's why Manuel's Caliente's Kitchen. So I'm Peruvian Power Foods. So here I am, somebody talking about Peruvian superfoods with an accent. They told me it sounds sexy, so we'll see. So anyhow, that's sort of been my path through what I've been through, what I have done, and let me finish up with something else. I've been very fortunate to be very successful in my career, and I believe in giving back. So a couple years ago, now it's been 4 years ago, I decided to help little girls from the Andes of Peru. This is an American nonprofit. So what I'm doing for them is a couple of things. I raise money for them. I do fundraisers because they do need money. Now these girls are ages 4 to 11, and I'm telling you, you haven't seen poverty until you see these girls. It breaks my heart. And many of them are malnourished, of course. So my job is to help them get 2 hot meals a day. And I've been doing this. I go every year to visit them. I'm due next year again, probably when I go in March to see them. But then when I go there, I evaluate their menu. I help them to make sure they're eating balanced. And you know what the beauty is, that they grow their own food too in their school. Their parents come, they grow, because a lot of their parents work in farms, so they come and they grow potatoes, they grow quinoa, and also lots of potatoes, and they have chickens and goat for meat as well there. So and you know, I work with them in the kitchen, and I tell you a story that happened. You know, I find this interesting. Almighty Facebook, one of the chef was on Facebook and read that eating oats with milk is not healthy, so she stopped giving milk to the children. I wanted to strangle her. Professor was nice. I said, oh no, don't do that. Go back to the milk and make the oats with milk. You know, as we know, milk is good for children, for calcium, it's good for everybody. But anyways, this is the type of work that I do pro bono. I give my time. I throw fundraiser parties, and these girls are my daughters. I call them. There are 130 of them now, and when I go, we have a good time, and I love them. So it's always good to give back. You can give back to your community, and it feels good, because then it empowers you to do more things as well. All right, so now let's I think we're at the half-hour time limit now that I needed to be with you. So let me see if there's some questions here now. And no questions. All right, but let me refresh the page just in case. All right. No questions. All right, so I guess that's it for now. So I'll check later if you have any questions. Again, remember where you can find me. My social media handles. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And my website is manuelvillacorta.com. Again, thank you, and I hope I have inspired some people here today. And dietitians rock. That's all I have to say. Ciao, ciao.